Welcome to the road to $1 million US, and let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. We're going to start on this 1 day time frame and then also take a look at some other time frames for Bitcoin. Now, before I get started, I want to be very clear that nothing I say in this video is my personal opinion. I'm only going to be showing you the objective technical analysis and nothing more. So first of all, right now you can see that we are getting yet another rejection, in this case from this area of resistance sitting from 95,000 all the way up to 96k. That means that on this 1 day time frame, the next area of support to the downside is already sitting from 92 all the way down to 90,000. And we are actually going to continue with the bearish signals first, and then I want to show you some other contrarian points as well. But either way, let's first of all start with the bearish signal. So this 3 day time frame, we still have this bearish divergence playing out. In the case you don't know, typically it points towards us getting a break from all of the bullish price action, either in the form of some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bearish momentum. And so far we are seeing bearish momentum indeed. Same thing goes for this bearish divergence here on the 1 week time frame. Once again, we have higher highs in the Bitcoin price and lower highs in the RSI momentum indicator. And in fact, we can even now start to see a potential breakdown below this critical area of support sitting at around 98k in the Bitcoin price. So this is actually going to be a major warning signal flashing here on the 1 week time frame, breaking this ascending trend line. Typically does not matter which time frame you are looking at. If you're seeing a break of an ascending trend like this, especially if it has been holding for such a long time, that is usually not a bullish signal. Although, like I said, I also want to show you some evidence contrary to actually all of these bearish outlooks. But as always, we're going to keep it 100% objective in this video, showing you both sides of the analysis. Now, right here, you can see that we are also still trading below this descending trend line. So overall, the bias is still bearish. Same thing goes for the market structure as well. So long as we are not breaking above 115.5k, we are still bearish biased. And so far, we are still just seeing lower lows and lower highs being created. So this is obviously what you call a downtrend. Not much has actually changed there, although I do want to point at some lower time frame signals that we could also take a look at. For example, a potential bullish divergence here. Same thing as my last video, we had a potential bullish divergence confirming here. And while we did get a slight break from the bearish price action, this is typically not what you see when you see a bullish divergence confirming like this, but there is still a chance of a new bullish divergence forming, even if we continue dropping lower, so long as we're not making a lower low in the RSI momentum indicator on this 12-hour time frame, then it is technically still possible that we do end up getting some kind of bullish divergence out of here. So that is one of the potentially bullish signals that I wanted to point out in this video. Once again, this is not confirmed yet, so please do not misunderstand me. I am not saying that this situation is like super bullish or something like that. Obviously, we are still in a downtrend, and if you look at this as a bullish situation, as a bullish setup, that is an extremely risky way to look at the market. But for the sake of objectivity, I want to show you guys everything that I'm spotting in the market here. And the same thing can actually be said about this 4-hour time frame as well. It hasn't confirmed yet, like I said, on the 12-hour time frame, but there is a potential bullish divergence forming here if we start seeing some lower lows coming in on the 4-hour time frame and higher lows in the RSI momentum indicator, although this low hasn't properly confirmed yet, right? So that is why I'm saying it is a potential bullish divergence. Same thing actually on this 1 day time frame, because we are about to be in oversold territory on the 1 day RSI. Now, when is the last time you saw this, guys? This was in February of 2025, when Bitcoin was trading right around this $80,000 level. And this was in a bull market, right? The time before that, we were trading at around 50k when we were in that big descending channel in 2024. And we saw this big dump to the downside here. But I just want to point at this and say, like, yeah, usually these times when we were in extreme fear and also in oversold territory on the RSI, even like if you look at this bear market here from the last cycle, guys, big move into oversold territory here on the RSI, same thing here and same thing here, but all of these got some kind of bounce out of here. So even while this was in a broader downtrend, in a bigger bear market, this was still getting pumps to the upside. Now in this case, I don't want to argue in this video if this is a bull or a bear market, but all I'm saying is that typically when we are in oversold territory on this RSI, we do eventually get some kind of relief. My point being that the deeper we go into oversold territory and the lower we go on this fear and greed index, the riskier it actually becomes to only now start shorting Bitcoin the lower we go, right? And the more open we have to be to the possibility of at least seeing some kind of counter trend bounce that could, for example, roll over into a new lower low being formed after that. But either way, the more open we have to be to some kind of bounce coming sometime soon. Moving on to the liquidation heat map, first of all on this 1 year time frame, because notice how right here we are very close to actually taking out a massive amount of liquidity around this 93.5k level. After that, the liquidity is starting to get pretty sparse. There is liquidity as low as about 83k, although most of the liquidity is around this level here, like I said, 93k roughly speaking. Now if I zoom in all the way to the 1 week time frame, notice how right here we do have a bunch of liquidity around 98k, and even at around 105k in the Bitcoin price. Most of the liquidity is still to the downside at 93.4k. However, we do have a bunch of liquidity piling up to the upside here as well. So be on the lookout for some kind of potential bullish divergence confirming. And after seeing breaks of the descending trend lines on the lower time frames, we might start seeing a move to the upside in order to take out a bunch of liquidity here. So to summarize this video here, guys, overall, we are still in a downtrend on the higher time frames. We are also in a downtrend on the lower time frames. However, we need to be open to the possibility for some kind of bullish divergence or other reversal signals showing up sometime soon. So while everyone is bearish, as we can see in this fear and greed index, we need to stay sharp in this market and keep an open mind for possible short-term counter-trend bounces. Either way, this has been today's market update. Make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss any of these important update videos. But regardless, if you do end up doing that or not, thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.